Sometimes when I'm about to start a video, I may stare into the distance a little bit. And this isn't going to make a lot of sense, but I kind of try to take the mood of whatever it is that I'm observing. Today, for instance, it's a sunny day, and we haven't had legitimate, full blown sunny days in about a week now. And I don't see the leaves moving at all, meaning there's no wind. As a result, because the sky is clear and the trees are not moving, it's as if I take their mood, their stability, their serenity, and I make it mine. And then I get into whatever it is that I'm discussing. While describing that, you can also take into account what's obvious, which is dry. But I wanted to take a moment to discuss something that I have been aware of has been happening to me since I was a teen, but I never really credited this. I just thought it was the isolation, my ability to play music, and the ambience sound added to it. But I need to tell you guys about something that happens to me when I take a shower, psychologically, of course. About 2 months ago, I wrote down as a future video topic that I need to attempt to describe the power that water, particularly running water, has on me. I don't know what to attribute it to. Just hear me out. I've never even journaled about this before. It's my first time really diving into it. But when I'm taking a shower, I feel things, I hear things, but there isn't necessarily a voice attached to it. Say, I can hear my mother's voice saying something. I can hear a grave voice saying something. Or I can hear a loud bitch saying something. It's nothing like that. It's like the water communicates to me and it deposits impressions on me. And to give you an example, when I was taking a shower some nights ago, my boyfriend said something about how he has to pick something up. And I said, funny that you say that because in my agenda, I just wrote down that I need to pick up. And it happens to be the very same item. Other times, it's been things like a bill. Like, oh, gotta consider that rent is coming up. And I had that thought while I was in the shower. And then, next thing I know, he makes a comment about how he needs to check his account to make sure that rent money is there whenever he needs it. When it comes to water, some of my foretelling, my visions, my emotions are felt when I'm in the shower. And I don't know if water is what has that power over me. Because when water is touching me and I can control its temperature, sometimes I need it to be warm, like warm to where you see the steam, but never hot because it's too uncomfortable for me. I feel like the warmth starts to relax me and I start hearing the sound of water draining, things like that. And something about it augments my focus, but in a soothing way. And then I remember that many years ago, I read something about how lonely people tend to take warmer showers because warmth feels like the warmth of you cuddling or something like that. And I said, it makes sense. I can see myself as someone who had been emotionally and physically deprived. I can see it as, yeah, water does bring me comfort. Water coming out of the faucet is like one thing that guaranteed I can control. I can control how hot it comes out, its flow, like how much pressure, and I can gradually accommodate it to be in between. You're not hot, but you're not cold. But toward the end of my shower, I always rinse myself with a cycle of cold water because since it's hot, then I feel like that just helps me not sweat as fast. Not that I'm a sweaty person, but sometimes I know I can be. And lately I have been, which is weird because I could work out without sweating. But during the winter time, absolutely fucking not. I gotta have it borderline boiling, and that's the only way I can get through my showers comfortably. But toward the end, I try to run it lukewarm, close to cold as possible, but it's never cold. And it's never ice cold. I don't know how I did this as a teen, but I used to be able to take absolutely cold showers. And now I am an absolute wimp at cold water. Sometimes I want to challenge myself and go to a river like I used to when I was a kid and see if I can resist that water better now than when I was a kid. Because when I was a kid, it used to feel like I was being stabbed by needles. But now I feel like I might be able to do well with it because I think sometimes stuff like that is more mental capacity, which as a kid I don't have. But on the note of mental capacity, that's what I'm trying to really illustrate here, that water alters my mental capacity somehow. And it's like it gives me messages, but I know it's not the water itself doing that because water doesn't know me. But I do feel that water carries its own energy, and I'm guessing I'm able to pick up on it because water is something very compatible with me. I always say I love to clean, I love to shower, I love the sensation of being fresh after all that. And it really changes my mood. And we know that's a given, we know that's a fact. But I think that there's some people who interpret and act like that a little more. And I want to say that's where I'm at. My best ideas have always come when I'm in the shower. And the worst part about that is that, of course, when I'm in the shower, I don't bring my phone with me to the shower. I can't write it down. And I don't have paper and pen. I can't have paper and pen, so I don't write it down. And I think that sometimes the challenge is remaining focused now that I have regained my ability to focus after being stressed out and burdened. That I think if I'm able to remember what my idea was after the shower, that means I remained eager about it, meaning that I have restored myself. In other cases, there have been thoughts and ideas and to do things that I have resolved while I'm taking a shower, but I step out and I completely either forget about it, don't do it, or I remain stressed. Like sleep. You go to sleep so that you can rest, restore, heal, but some people don't get good sleep and you wake up still sore, in pain, and tired. And I know that for a while I had that season. It is possible for you to have a season in which, when you're taking a shower, you don't feel the benefit of taking a shower. At some point, taking a shower may feel like a chore, like a burden. I know I feel that with lotion. Sometimes I'm like, I just enjoyed splashing water all over me, but now putting lotion on, it feels like a drag, it feels like a burden, it feels like the toughest part of my day. Anyway, I think it's just a different element to my grooming that I don't associate positively for the same reason that I don't put makeup on because I don't think it's a positive experience for me. So, when it comes to water and its impact on me, I think that if I were to illustrate this physically as best as I could, it's as if my pores can conduct the electricity that water brings, and that electricity stimulates my brain to be really extra because I have the receptors for it. My brain and my skin and my body are receptive to that power that water carries. That is simply the best way I could describe it. I really do not know how else to put this. But all I wanted to share here is that I don't know if this happens to you. Maybe for you it is touching grass, being out there in the dirt, working with dust. I don't know what it is. Something fuzzy, fluffy, something sharp, spiky. But do you ever have something, a texture, that when you feel it, you feel like it brings power to you. Wind is a close second. If the wind is like a springtime or fall weather kind of gentle breeze, sure, I can do that, but its power over me is not the same as water. Some people, when it is breezy outside, they're just extra, they're thriving out there. That kind of thriving, I can say water invokes within me. But in a shower, which is my deepest connection with water, because it's an enclosed space and I'm by myself and it's a small room, something like that, maybe it serves to deposit the energy in me, but I will carry it with me silently and it'll come out whenever it's necessary. Like at work, I'm never tired. No matter how toe up I am mentally and emotionally, I'm ready to go. My performance is the same from the moment I punch in until the moment I punch out. And I don't even shower before shifts, but the few times that I do get around to showering before a shift, I feel the difference. Like my senses are even sharper than they already are. And for me, some of my memories too, I can retrieve better while I'm taking a shower. Maybe it's because it gives you a feeling of protection that you're isolated in that little spot. Nothing happens, no one is going to bother you. Maybe you make yourself more vulnerable, and that vulnerability makes you more receptive. I don't know. I couldn't tell you, but I just thought that I would share that that's something that happens to me. Water to me tells stories. I didn't feel this at the time. Like I hadn't had these thoughts that I just shared at the time, of course. But when I think about it, the movie Frozen, I think it was Frozen 2, that comes really close to expressing what I'm trying to convey here. But of course, that's Disney. I'm a real life version. But in Frozen, water is treated as if it can hold memories. And Elsa, the main character, she has the power of ice, freezing things, making ice castles, things like that. She's able to somehow reveal stories using her ice powers. Like, let's say that, fuck it, I'm gonna spoil it. In the movie, her parents die in a shipwreck. Somewhere in the movie, the theme is shared that water tells stories, water tells the truth of something. So even though their parents had died when they were kids and they're now, I guess, late teens or adults, early 20s, Elsa was able to like use the moisture that was in that shipwreck, and that moisture showed the final moment of their parents, which was that this wave was coming at them and they were like cuddling to death, of course. So the way I look at water when I'm taking a shower is sometimes I get impressions. I don't know if it's my peaceful, relaxed state in the company of water and the effect of water in my body, but that is kind of how it manifests in me. I get impressions of my family to the point that I ask my mom questions about, Mom, I just had a thought about if my great grandfather was doing this and that when he was young. How did that start? It never dawned on me. And then she goes, Oh, well, that's because he, from his side, had A, B, C, and D. Oh, that is what water does to me. It puts me in a relaxed state that I cannot always necessarily achieve on my own on command, but something happens when I'm taking a shower and I focus on water and it's affecting me, setting it to the perfect temperature that it's as if it unlocks a new power in me that I cannot summon in the daytime at any time. It's like the water deposits that power, but it is up to me to use it through the night and through the next day until my shower recharges that, if that makes sense. Well, you guys, I know this was a weird topic. I don't expect you to believe it or support it. I don't know how I feel about it sincerely. I think it's just science. Like maybe my skin type is better receptive to water. Other people may have a skin type in which they prefer the texture of air tickling them, something like that. I don't know. But I just know that when I'm taking a shower, my creative process is at its peak. And I'm just sad because sometimes I try to cling to that creativity that I just experienced. But I guess once I step out of the shower, I'm bombarded by all the stimulus, like the bright lights, the noise, people, and it kind of saps my power out. I have faith that someone out there will relate a little bit to what I said, not exactly, but you may be able to express how, oh, I like the feeling of silk. I like the feeling of something buttery. Soft fabric does this and that, or the feeling of a cat's coat. Little things like that. Sensory, perception, tactile stuff. What does it do to you? Because I think that is one sense that we take for granted and we don't explore as much as we should. We always talk about what we see, what we smell, what we taste, what we hear. But when was the last time you got really deep into the texture of something? And that's kind of why I started making the clothes review, because I understand that different fabrics achieve different purposes. And if I'm going to be out all day, you better believe I would never wear something that has like a rougher texture. I would probably not go with cotton. I would probably go with something like nylon and spandex with some poly in there. All right, guys, that's it for me. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you soon.